The Post on Church Point Road in Gonzales would like to invite everyone to their newly renovated events hall, a beautiful 9,600 square foot facility that features a 5,500 square foot main hall and a separate 600 square foot conference room. Renters have access to our huge kitchen, large stage, tables, chairs, bar, and covered outdoor cooking. So plan your next wedding, party, conference, and more at The Post on Church Point Road in Gonzales.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hello and welcome as we start today's Veterans Day edition of the Clarence Bud Show. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours in your world since the last opportunity we had to spend some time with you a day ago. It is the day where we celebrate and pay homage to those who serve. It is a day that is at the very core of what our country's all about. Individuals serving the greater good and doing it in a fashion that, quite frankly, many people would never have the fortitude to do. I was thinking just this morning about how growing up in a military household, my late father, very affectionately referred to as Sarge, as most non-commissioned officers will tell you, congregated with other military families, particularly those headed by sergeants. I have a debt of gratitude that I can never fully repay to people like Sergeant Ned Anderson from the old neighborhood, Sergeant Newman, Sergeant Turner, Sergeant Durio, and the list would not be complete without the addition of my old high school ROTC sergeant, Sergeant Smith. His tagline was, "The next time I catch you doing that, I will commence immediately to beating you vigorously about your head and shoulders." When you heard that line, that was it. It's straighten up time. But all of these men have made such an impact in their communities that in and of itself, it deserves recognition. But you know, while we call it Veterans Day and we celebrate those who serve, it would not be complete without a tip of the hat to the spouses. I mentioned growing up in a military household, weekends, special events, we would many times gather with other military families, and the spouses, in this case, the wives, would always talk amongst themselves when one husband recently got his orders to ship out. "Girl, I hear Y'all about to be stationed in fill in the blank here. Yeah, girl, that's right. We leave X date. Well, you all ready? How's the packing coming? We're getting there. You need some help? Well, yeah, I can always use some help. Okay, I'll be there. Fill in the blank with the time. Never once can I remember a military spouse complaining. My late mother, God bless her, on my dad's last tour overseas to Kaiserslautern, Germany, left almost a year before the rest of the family joined him in Germany. My mother packed up an entire household and then took 3 children, ages 2, 9, and 12, halfway around the world. And never once did she complain. Now, you can make the argument, well, Clarence, she married a military man. Your mama knew what she was getting into. True. But in today's society, the realization of what that is, the number of people that would still find a reason to complain is staggering. Most of us never give a second thought. Oh, so-and-so is shipping out to be deployed wherever. Never giving a second thought to the spouse that's left to deal with everything else. For my money, and listen, I get it. I know my experience is not typical to most Americans. But for my money, the spouses deserve recognition. Now, today, all across the country, and of course here in South Louisiana, because we are food-oriented people, all sorts of specials out there for veterans to take care of. Just a cursory glance at a list of restaurants that are offering specials to veterans today. Another Broken Egg, Applebee's, CC's Coffee House, Golden Corral, IHOP, Lit Pizza. Never been there, but I've heard good things about them. Logan's Roadhouse, Logan's. Olive Garden, Marty's favorite place. Wendy's, that's Alan's place. Wiener Schnitzel, Zaxby's, and others. If at all possible, if you know a veteran, take them out and treat them to a meal today. And the thing is, in lots of places, the meals will be free. And don't get it twisted, it's not about the meal. It's about gratitude and showing appreciation. And the fact of the matter is, wherever it is you work this day, if you are retired this day, if you are a business owner, private citizen, doesn't matter. Everything that you do this day and everyone thereafter is only possible because somebody, well, not just somebody, but a lot of our fellow Americans chose to step up and put on the uniform and give their lives, if need be, for the freedoms and the liberties that we all enjoy. Most people watching right now will never have to serve. Most people watching right now will never have to deal with what military servicemen and women and the spouses have to deal with. I will leave to you to decide whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I do know this, however. You and I showing appreciation is just a drop in the bucket. Because to be quite honest, y'all, the sacrifices these men and women make on behalf of our country, our freedoms, and our liberties, we can never repay that debt, not fully. I mean, some have lost limbs, lives, sanity. So to think that we could adequately repay that in some monetary terms is totally unrealistic. But understand this. I've never met, and there probably are, but I've never met them. I've never yet met a person that has served this country that did it for notoriety or fame. They did it because they love this country. They did it because they want to preserve our freedoms and our liberties. They did it because they chose to take advantage of what this country has to offer. I've got enough time before the first break, and I've told you this story before. And this, for me, reinforces the greatness of my country. My late father, back home on summer vacation once, popped in to visit my mom, who was then his fiance. Stopped by my grandmother's house because my mom was out of school for the summer. And like other kids at that time did, to earn some extra spending money to take back to school at Southern, she went out to pick some cotton. That's what they did then. Want to earn some extra money? Okay, spend a couple of days in the fields picking cotton. She got overheated and passed out. And they brought her home to her mother, my grandmother's house. My dad pops up and says, what are you doing here? You look a little strange. You look tired. And she was embarrassed because she didn't want him to know. She said, well, Ed, I want to earn some extra money to take back with me to Southern, so I went out today to Mr., I forget the gentleman's name that owned the fields, to pick some cotton, and I got overheated and I passed out and they brought me here. My late father was incensed. He said then, he made a declaration, no wife of mine will ever have to pick cotton to earn extra money. So what did he do? He didn't start a newsletter talking about the evils of racism in America. He didn't go down to the legislature and demand that you take the foot off the neck of the black man. You know what my father did? The very next day, he showed up at the recruiting office of the United States Army. He signed on, and he wore that uniform for 27 straight years. And as a result, he was able to expose his 3 kids to life all around the planet and all around this country, giving us the opportunity to learn how to interact with and appreciate all races, creeds, and colors. Without my father's sacrifice to that end, there's no way I would be the man that I am today. And without his love of this country, the freedoms and the liberties that we have, none of it would have been possible. God bless you, veterans. We love you more than we can say. First break of today's show. We'll get her done. Come back and talk more right where you've got it on today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances. Your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Book Show. I'm not going to blame that one on you, Marty. That's on them people in the truck out there. That's all. Wink, wink. It is the time of year, y'all, where we in South Louisiana get to indulge ourselves, our families, neighbors, friends, loved ones with holiday meals. It is just a part of who we are. I mean, when you say the phrase Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner, people's eyes light up because, you know, it's tradition, it is time-tested recipes, it's the gathering of things that mean most to us. Well, this year, because of COVID-19 in part, because of misguided policies by the Biden-Harris administration, many people this year are going to have to severely curtail these Thanksgiving meals. As a matter of fact, food banks all across the country are reporting severe shortages. One of the best known charity organizations in the capital city, if not the region, our friends at St. Vincent de Paul, who, by the way, run Holiday Helpers, are informing us that they are facing a shortage of things as well. Now listen, y'all, I get it. Please don't misunderstand me, or in the vernacular of the streets, don't get it twisted. I understand for many Louisianians, times are tough right now. As if COVID weren't enough, throw in Hurricane Ida, throw in vaccine mandates and whether or not you're going to have a job. So listen, I get it. Clarence, I'm not able this year. You know, normally I sit down, I write that check to my favorite charity, and I don't think twice about it. I get it. I understand. Things are tough for everybody. But a former pastor of mine is fond of the phrase, you can tell a lot about a society, about how they treat the children and the elderly. I'll put a caveat on that. You can tell a lot about a society, about how we treat our children, our elderly, and the less fortunate. I am so grateful that throughout I hate to say it because it reinforces the fact that I'm old school. Pause for dramatic effect. I understand that we will always have these things to deal with. That's a given. But at the end of the day, quite frankly, as shaky as things are now for many people, on any given day, at any given moment, there but by the grace of God go you or I. You hear the phrase, people living paycheck to paycheck. You hear the phrase, the working poor. But at the end of the day, I am so grateful that I realized early in my decades of broadcast experience, you never know what an individual's personal situation is. So it's okay to ask people to give, but you don't ask them to give until it hurts. I know that there are hundreds of thousands of my fellow Louisianians that are hurting. Jobs, houses, loved ones, COVID, the whole nine. But if you can find it within your spirit, within your heart, and more important, within your wallet, we're not asking that you give until it hurts. All we ask is that you give. And in the instance of institutions like food banks, things of that nature, because of the way they operate, they are able to do so much more than people like you and I can do with so much less. It's scary. I mean, you and I will take $5 and feel as though, man, that's barely enough to make a hot, nutritious meal. But a food bank, a food pantry, can take that $5 and they can feed 12 to 15 people off of that, because they buy in bulk and they have relationships. Roger, Kador, that's just for you. They have relationships with individuals that allow them to do these things. So again, I'm not asking you to give until it hurts. All I ask, if you can, is that you give. And you know, at the end of the day, when you're sitting in there, you're sitting there and you got to loosen the belt a notch or two, and you're sitting there with your arms around loved ones and friends on that special day, and you're watching that favorite holiday movie, enjoying the favorite holiday tradition, whatever. As great as all those feelings are, there's one that's even greater. And that's at the end of that day, being able to say, wow, I helped others enjoy a day like this. I get it, y'all. Many people, particularly with the recent events in our country, many people feel, Clarence, I hear what you're saying, but I can't save the world. I realized a long time ago, I can't do everything for everybody. And that's a valid assessment. But at the end of the day, that journey of 1,000 miles truly does begin with a single step. And what many of us fail to realize, that first step doesn't have to be a gigantic leap. It can be a very small step. $5 donation to the local food pantry, $10 donation to St. Vincent de Paul, whomever, your local charitable organization. At the end of the day, that little amount of money, if given in the correct spirit, will bring you more joy than you can ever imagine. And listen, again, I get it. I know you're not doing it for the recognition. I know you're not doing it for fame or fortune. I mean, it is $5 after all, so it's only so much fame you're going to get for $5 to begin with. But that's not the point. Point is, at the end of the day, that little something will give you so much more in return. I mentioned St. Vincent de Paul, who has taken over holiday helpers since Major Reginald Brown, Constable Reginald Brown, started curtailing his duties somewhat at this stage in his life. And they desperately need help, y'all. So again, if you can, do what you can. Again, nobody's asking you to give until it hurts. All we're asking is that you give. As a matter of fact, we're going to see if we can't get our dear friend Micah Caldo on sometime very soon to talk about the problems facing that awesome organization. And while we're at it, I guess we may as well go ahead and get Mike Manning with the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank as well. Because like so many other organizations, they don't serve just East Baton Rouge Parish. They serve multiple, sometimes 8, 10, 11 parishes. It would truly be a shame, y'all, with all we've been through, all we are going through. At the end of the holidays, there was someone out there that didn't feel loved. And you know, say what you will, and this is no knock on any other part of the country. There are great people that live everywhere in the length and breadth of this grand republic. But when it comes to loving folk, Louisiana doesn't take a back seat to anybody. We've proven it over and over and over again. And my gut tells me we're going to do it again for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Just saying. Bottom of the hour break. We'll get this done. And after that, I want to talk a little bit about education in America, where it's heading, where we are now, and more important, what is our response to it? That's next when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
An actual countdown coming back from the break? Well, wonders never cease. You know, one of the issues on the periphery of COVID-19, in this country at least, has been a very rude awakening regarding education in this country. You, I'm sure, have heard, we conservatives, particularly in recent memory, talk about how in many places across our country, our children are no longer being educated. Instead, they're being indoctrinated. Let me say right up front, y'all, this is only possible when, one, you refuse, for whatever your reasoning happens to be, to ride herd on those that you elect to your school boards and other respective boards of education wherever it is you live. Secondly, your children can only be indoctrinated instead of educated if you choose not to be a part of your child's education. For millions and millions and millions of our fellow Americans, learning from home opened their eyes to what's going on in school systems all across this country. Just this week, in New Hampshire, high school football player suspended and not allowed to play in a game because this student posted on social media, not on school time, not on school grounds, that there are only two genders. You heard me right. They suspended this kid for stating nothing more than a biological fact. You know what's so telling and ironic with all of this wokeness that we're witnessing these days? These are the very same people, y'all, that will tell you in no uncertain terms, you got to believe the science. Of course, now, these are the very same people that will also tell you, my body, my choice. A woman has to have, what's the phrase they came up with? Bodily autonomy, meaning it's my body, I decide what's going to happen to it. These are the same people, y'all, that will tell you, my body, my choice. But if I say that about a COVID shot that I don't want, don't trust, have no clue what's in it, well, now I'm a science denier. I'm a flat earther. And they will call you every despicable, ugly name in the book, only because you're stating a biological fact. Of course, now, that may be why millions of Americans now have had their eyes opened by learning from home after the National School Boards Association tries to sick the federal government and the Justice Department on parents concerned about what's going on in their kids' school by calling them domestic terrorists. Maybe that's now why 27 states in this union have divorced themselves from the National School Boards Association. Just saying. And yeah, before you ask, Louisiana's one of them. But you know something else? And y'all know this as well as anybody, better than most. You can say anything about anybody in Louisiana, as long as you either preface it or end it with, bless their little old hearts. That Jack fill in the blank here, bless his little old heart, he don't know no better. A Sao Inoue, I-N-O-U-E, I'm assuming Inoue, is a professor of, wait for it, rhetoric and composition at Arizona State University. And this professor is now urging his colleagues to fight, quote, white language supremacy. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. White language supremacy. His argument is this. What we need to do, because people have different ethnicities and idiosyncrasies that are unique to their upbringing, we should no longer grade students, at least in my composition and writing class, rhetoric and composition, at least you got the first part right. We should no longer grade them on the results of the test. Instead, we need to grade them based upon how much labor they put into trying to complete the exam. This clown is of the opinion it's the labor, not the results, that matter. So let's look at that, shall we? Take two people, give them the same amount of flour, sugar, salt, baking powder, and seasonings. Put them in a room for 2 hours. One of them is probably going to come back with something that your dog would turn his nose up at. The other is going to come up with something that you would say, man, where's my wallet? I got to buy this. I want this. This is amazing. According to this professor, this whack job, well, they both put 2 hours of labor in it. It ought to be the same thing. I mean, after all, it's the labor you put in, not the results. No, Hulse, that ain't how this works. It's the results, not the labor. That's akin to people trying to convince you that practice makes perfect. Horse hockey. Practice don't make perfect, son. In case you don't know, practicing perfectly makes perfect. You can practice all day long, but if you're doing it wrong, all you're gonna get is real good at doing it wrong. It's the results, not the labor. Now, bless this little old dimwit's heart. Either he doesn't realize, or he hopes we won't realize that what you're saying, in essence, is, bless their little old hearts, black kids can't learn English like white kids. And these are the same folks that will preach diversity and inclusion. You see how they play you? Well, we need to level the playing field because, you know, black kids come in and they have a problem, you know, trying to speak correct English and, you know, put it down on paper. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that how the world works? Where you work, what's more important, the labor or the results? It's like holding this big old dinner, congratulating somebody where you work for being there 40 years. Woo, we're going to have a big soiree. And somebody not familiar just bought a ticket out of the goodness of their heart to come and support you. Somebody said, okay, well, wow, 40 years, they must have done a hell of a job. What'd they do? What spectacular feat or accomplishment did they have? Nothing really. Well, wait a minute. They were here 40 years and didn't really accomplish much of anything, Joe Biden. You follow me? Why are you celebrating? Now, if you want to celebrate their longevity, woohoo, you made it to retirement, boom. That's one thing. But celebrating just for the mere fact of celebrating lowers the accomplishments of everybody else. Lastly, ironically, this dimwit either doesn't realize or doesn't care that what you are doing in this instance is depriving the individuals who need it most the right to a quality education. Listen, white liberals, please don't misunderstand me. Stop trying to do me favors. We don't need your help. What we need is for you to get the hell out of the way and let us work to be Americans. Remember I told y'all long ago, it occurred to me one night, one of the main differences between liberals and conservatives, liberals just want you to be black. Conservatives want you to be an American. See, when you're black, you got these yahoos like this clown at Arizona State. Well, you need special consideration. You need a special break. You need special this, that, and the other. And inevitably, who is it that gets to be in charge of handing out all this special stuff? Ding, 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 the libs. But when you're an American, all you want is a shot. Because you're going to get up earlier than everybody, you're going to stay later than everybody, and you're going to bust your freaking hump to take care of you and yours. And that's all you want, other than the government to keep its grubby little fingers out your pocket. But if you do that, you won't need the left. Boom. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
The Post on Church Point Road in Gonzales would like to invite everyone to their newly renovated events hall, a beautiful 9,600 square foot facility that features a 5,500 square foot main hall and a separate 600 square foot conference room. Renters have access to our huge kitchen, large stage, tables, chairs, bar, and covered outdoor cooking. So plan your next wedding, party, conference, and more at The Post on Church Point Road, Gonzales.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremontes.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With private healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Well, there you go. There you go. It is becoming old hat. And in retrospect, I guess with the state of the world being what the state of the world is these days, there's always the possibility of terrorism lurking around the corner. Be afraid. Be very afraid. For the fourth time this year, the Department of Homeland Security announcing that our country faces a, quote, heightened threat environment from, wait for it, domestic terrorists. Marty, you get an A on class today. And people inspired by foreign terrorist groups with the approach of the holiday season. The Department of Homeland Security, in announcing this increased threat, mentioned that they have no credible information on a specific threat. However, they warn in this National Terrorism Advisory Bulletin that mass gatherings for the upcoming religious holidays could be potential targets. Now, in the wake of 9/11, I don't think there's a single American that has not come to the realization, if you see something, say something. I don't think there's a single American, well, let me retract that, because there are some that were born post 9/11 that have no vivid memory or recollection of that horrific event. But most people that I know have raised their self-awareness out of necessity, if nothing else. With crime being what crime has become here in the capital region, when I go to a restaurant or a business and I have to wait to be served, waited on, whatever, used to be I'd find a seat, plop my little narrow behind down in it, and I'm good to go. Now, I don't sit with my back to the door anymore. Why? Because at any place in America, at any given time, some yahoo may walk through the door with an axe to grind, and if you don't see it coming, or at least buy yourself a couple of extra seconds, you might be in a life or death situation. Not of your doing, totally out of your control. But if you can't see it coming, you can't defend yourself. So, like most of my fellow Americans, I've adopted common sense things. I mean, you know, and y'all accept this in the spirit that it's given. If I see a guy that looks particularly like he's of Middle Eastern descent, and he's got a vest on that looks like sticks of dynamite hanging out, he got a lighter in one, yeah, I'm profiling. He got a lighter in one hand and he's hollering at the top of his lungs, Allah Akbar. I'm probably going to deal with him a little differently than I deal with Marty. Just saying. But it's common sense things, y'all. And I get it. It's probably Department of Homeland Security engaging in some CYA. Y'all know the acronym. Because if something were to happen and you hadn't said anything, then you're really the bad guy. So I try to understand, like the old adage, better to have and not need than to need and not have. I get it. But Americans are not dummies, and we're certainly not all children. If you feel that there is enough evidence to warrant issuing a national terrorism alert, then tell us what to be on the lookout for, y'all. It's like the freaking media these days that will print a story, and I've noticed it increasingly in Baton Rouge. They'll print a story about some egregious incident, some horrific, violent episode, and it won't give you a description of the suspect. Now, if you truly want my cooperation, you truly want this to be a better place to live, you truly want us to get involved, then you need to tell me. This morning, at the local big box retailer, a guy looking like Uncle Si, Marty, white guy, about 6 feet, 6'1", approximately 180 pounds, wearing camo, scraggly beard, driving a fill in the blank. Then I know who to be on the lookout for, and more important, how to protect me and my loved ones. I could be standing in line right next to the guy, but if you don't give me a description, how the hell am I supposed to know? Common sense, y'all. Sadly, that used to be something we prided ourselves on in this country. Not anymore. Common sense these days will get you in more trouble than you can ever imagine. Ask that kid in New Hampshire that got suspended from school for stating a biological fact. And these are the same people, y'all. The same ones that will tell you, you got to trust the science. But apparently it has not occurred to them. Let's see. Since the beginning of the human species, all the notable scientists, scholars, you name it, X chromosome, Y chromosome, male, female. I mean, Sir Isaac Newton, Galileo, go down the list, y'all. Since the beginning of time, we've all understood this. And you can step outside the secular world and go to the religious side, and believe it or not, there's agreement. Because the Bible tells you, male and female of every species created He. So God knows. There's X chromosome, Y chromosome. Take your pick. That's what you are. Sir Isaac Newton, Einstein, they all knew it. But now, these clowns, yesterday the actor on General Hospital, the soap opera, this Yahoo professor at Arizona State, and these clowns on the school board in New Hampshire, apparently they know better than the entire human race and what we've all known since the beginning of our existence. So you're the one that's always preaching, you got to trust the science. But in this case, it's you that's denying the science. Well, that's got to be because they're a noted published PhD at Nauhaus. Nauhaus, this is an actor on General Hospital. It's a clown on a school board seat in New Hampshire. But they know better than us. Huh. Now, if you believe that, I have a beachfront, mountaintop chalet in Bunkie, Louisiana that I'll let you have real cheap. If you buying that crap, what else are you buying? Just saying. And rest assured, all you have to do is look around you. And you will see people willing to try to sell you any load of crap they can. The only question is, are you buying it? I'm not. Marty's not. We ain't buying it. And you know, basic economics tells you supply and demand. If ain't nobody buying, you may as well go somewhere else. End of discussion. My time's up, y'all, and I gotta go. But this day, just like any other, maybe more so than most, I give it to you. You know what? You're right. America, no way, shape, or form are we perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is, Captain. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Either way, ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. God bless.